What's the haps? I'm John, aka Meroka, and welcome to Spiel. We are in the Emerald Sun Gate, which, as you can see from the lightning off in the distance, is a shock stratum. Or, well, yeah. Yes, it is a stratum. I've got that right for once. I always seem to confuse things, so yes, it's a shock stratum. I think I normally say it's a shock gate, don't I? I don't know. We're in the Emerald Sun Gate, and the first half of the gate is a stratum. I know how this game works. I know these things. Maybe. Sort of. Well, it doesn't seem to be going in my favour to begin with anyway, so I am lightninged and... Okay, I changed my sprites a bit, so I was a little bit down on health to begin with, but hey-ho. Never mind. So I got a variety of different things in here. We've got beasties, we've got some gremlins, I guess, maybe. Slimes, all sorts of wonderful and terrible, shocking things that are going to make my life a terrible, terrible place. But there we go. Anyway, let's do some Spiral Knights news. Yeah! Because, well, I suppose I've already kind of done the bulk of it, I guess. I don't know why I'm breaking those. I've done plenty of Spiral Knights content on my channel over the last week. As many of you will probably be aware, it covered most of what happened last week. So last week I sort of speculated on the pictures Three Rings had posted. I was like, oh, maybe it'll be out today, but I think it'd be unlikely. And then it was that day, so... I was wrong, and you know what? I'm glad I was wrong. So, I'm not often wrong, but in this case, it was a good thing that I was wrong, and we are all better for it. So, I wish to talk for a moment about the new content, because, well, I've obviously played through the missions now. I've seen it, explored it, completed it. And it's probably worth actually touching on what I actually think of it, because some of it's good, some of it's not amazing. I mean, it's good that they're actually adding content to the game, because God knows they've been really, really bad about that for the last year, so the fact that 3 new missions at all have been added to the game in the slightest is really fantastic. One thing I've not checked, it is still classified as Vanguard rank. There's this little 12 here that sort of implies, not 12, that's not a 12, I can count, that's 11 here, which sort of suggests that at some point we're going to be working towards another higher rank than Vanguard, but no, I guess we're still called Vanguard. That's something I forgot to check up till now. I was like, am I still a Vanguard, or am I now something greater than a Vanguard? No, I'm still a Vanguard. It's fine. It's okay. I should probably grab a red, actually. So, yeah. New content. First mission was cool. I liked the New Haven theme. I was basically using, like... It's kind of using an existing tile set, but in a new way, because they've not really used that for missions outside of a few very, very specific kind of things. I think there's a little bit of one of them that was like in the laboratory, wasn't there? I don't know. That's one of the early missions, and it never really comes back. So I like seeing that used as an actual mission where you've got to fight your way through the streets of Haven. That was kind of cool. That was using a new tile set, and you know, if they want to implement that in future things, that's okay. I wouldn't mind seeing more variety in the clockworks. That'd be great. Escorting the newbies. I'm pleased that they weren't totally useless. That was nice to have an escort quest where the people felt competent. In terms of balance, though, I feel like they felt more powerful than you were. Maybe that feeling of balance... Oh, god damn it. Maybe that balance kind of changes a little bit if you're in a group, but solo, it's kind of like, yeah, just one person, the 3 of them... was it 3 or was it 4 of them? I think there were 3 of them. There were 3 of them, right? The 3 of them are just way more powerful than I am, because they may be still using stuff that looks like proto gear, but it's basically 5-star equivalents in terms of actual effect and potency, and it's just shredding stuff. So there wasn't a lot to do in that mission, but it was kind of a neat little diversion, if nothing else. The Crimson Chaos one, I liked that mission. I quite liked Crimson Chaos. It didn't elaborate on as much of the story as I wanted it to. I was kind of hoping we'd actually see some actual narrative. There was a little message at the end from Herix, but it was just his usual Herix being Herix kind of stuff. It didn't move the story forward in any way, shape, or form. It was just kind of, haha, I am Herix, I am bad guy kind of thing. I was like, can we actually see what his plans are and thwart them and actually move the narrative in a meaningful fashion at some point? That would be... Is that too much to ask for? I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. So, kind of a little disappointed that didn't really go anywhere. And then the third mission, I appreciate that mostly what the third mission, It Came From Below, serves to do is introduce people who have not seen the Shadow Lair content to Shadow Lair content. Because obviously, normally there's a massive energy paywall that requires you to stump up a lot of cash in order to actually, whether you're real or through grinding, it requires someone somewhere to stump up some cash in order to get into those things. So a lot of people probably won't actually have seen that content just on that basis, so it gives people some access to seeing some of that kind of high-level endgame content. For anybody who has already done some of that, and I've done 3 out of 4 of the Shadow Lairs, for anybody who's already seen those, it's less dramatic. It's just kind of, okay, more Shadow Lair stuff. I mean, the third level is literally just lifted pretty much identically from any Shadow Lair into the mission. It's like, yep, that's that level, exactly as is. I imagine there's a little bit of random variance in that level design, but it doesn't really change anything. You got the arena, then you got a bunch of winding passages, and then you got another arena bit, and then the door opens and you go over a shiny bridge and you leave. Normally you then go into Sanctuary and get to make interesting and wonderful items, but in this case you just kind of went over the bridge and the mission ended, where it was a little anticlimactic. Okay, I need something that will kill beasties. I don't think I'm carrying such a thing. So, I want a Barbarous Thorn Blade. I think that's what I want, instead of... That probably won't be too useful here. Coolio. Something stabby. So, yeah, the missions were a mixed bag. They were very much a mixed bag. There was some good stuff, but I feel they could have been so much more. The fact that it's like the first 3 missions they've added in freaking ages, I kind of feel like there should have been more... Something a bit more dramatic to them. Some of them were a little lackluster, but I guess it's nice that the content exists at all. I don't know. We still need to move this story. They keep teasing bits of story, and the story just doesn't go anywhere. So, 3 Rings, for God's sake, work on your story. Please. Make that happen. You have an interesting narrative here. Finish it! It's a kind of a half-cocked story at this point. It's just done. It's not done. That's the thing. It just keeps trailing off. It's like, hey, narrative. Okay, we couldn't be bothered finishing the story. Guys, where's the rest? You only wrote half a book. I want the rest. But there you go. Anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on that. Nice idea, and some interesting new mechanics, but I was left wanting more, and they just didn't finish. It was just a starter. It wasn't the main course. I want the main course. Where's the main course at, guys? This is what I need. So yeah. So in other news, things. Actually, this is something I should have mentioned last week and totally didn't. So I'll mention it now. Is that I have passed 1,500 subscribers, which is a wonderful number, and I thank every last one of you, particularly the ones who watch the content the most, because you are the guys who engage and grow the channel and make it what it is. People who like and comment and do interesting things to the videos. Those are things that make my videos show up to other people, and then more people know about my channel, and then we grow further together. But yeah, everybody is appreciated. Every last one of you. So I wish to do my usual sort of token effort thank you kind of thing. I'm going to give away a game here. I didn't want to do that first thing in the video. I did want to leave this to be my second item on the agenda, mostly because if you check the analytics for any video, you kind of get this drop off of people who people who watch like less than 30 seconds of the video and then leave. And it's like, well, if you're not really watching my video, I mean, there's half an hour of content here, and if all you're watching is the first 30 seconds, you're not really terribly engaged. So this is for the people who watched past the first 9 minutes of the video, I guess. So the people who really appreciate my content the most. You know who you are because you're watching it. Anybody who already left doesn't get this message and doesn't know that. Haha, see what I did? So, if you see what I did, then you'll see some codes appearing on your screen. Oh, well, a code, actually. I don't have that many to give away, but I will put a code on the screen, as always, first come, first served kind of deal. This is going to be a Steam key for Tiny and Big, which is one of the oldest games I've played on the channel, but is still a fantastic game. A physics-based puzzle thing about cutting up the world with giant lasers, It's a really awesome game, you should check that one out. It's not a massively long game, but it's a really, really fun game. So, first come, first served on that particular one. And, as I say, sort of the people who aren't bothered about watching more than the first 30 seconds of my video will never know that that was there. They will not have watched enough of the video to know that was a thing. And that's a terrible shame, but you guys who are still watching the video, you get rewarded, or at least the first person to do that does, which is kind of how I like that to work. The problem with giveaways, and a lot of people do giveaways, is that I think it does sort of tend to attract the wrong audience. Insofar as if you put in the title of your video, massive giveaway, I'm giving away games, I'm giving away things, I'm doing stuff here, prizes for subscribing to my channel. Do you know who subscribes to your channel? Not people who want to watch your video. The people who subscribe to your channel are the people who want free stuff. And that's... Sure, it makes your subscriber count go up, but quite frankly, I think once you've done your giveaway, those subscriber counts probably go back down again anyway, for the most part. Most of those people aren't really interested in anything you have to say, and I would much rather reward people who are already engaged in my channel and are interested in what I have to say and the things that I make, than rewarding random strangers who just want free stuff, which I think is a really bad way to do it. But, I don't know, I guess it seems to work for a lot of people. A lot of people have very big numbers just by going, giveaways, giveaways, giveaways. There's a really unsettling trend with a lot of critique stuff where you see a lot of people who are like, oh, these are my first impressions of this game and a giveaway of the game, because it seems like a lot of people go to developers and they're like, oh, can I have a review copy of your game and want a giveaway? And a lot of developers still, for whatever reason, are just like, yeah, sure, here, have 2 copies of the game, and... yeah, it just sits there so that people can go, oh, here's my review, and by the way, if you subscribe and leave a like on this video, you can win a copy of this game as well. And it's like, that's... people aren't coming to you because they like your critique, people are coming to you because you're giving them free things. It's like, it's a bit disingenuous, but, yeah. If that's what people want, that's what people want. What am I doing here? I probably want my voltage back, actually. There will be constructs in here, I know. I have no doubt whatsoever. Because this is deconstruction zone music. So, I need to deconstruct some things. Gremlins mostly, though. They are living beings. I probably can't deconstruct them as much as I would want, but... hey-ho! I've got a sword buff there, so hey. That will let me deconstruct all the things. Cool. So, let us move on to the meat of the show, the questions! Many questions, in fact, and I'm still playing catch-up from a couple of weeks back, because I'm running... I keep getting long questions that I ramble about for a long time, and today's probably no different, but I would like to try and make some headway through some of these questions. So, one that I teased a little bit by accidentally mentioning who asked the question when I was actually meaning to answer another question last week. Whoopsie. Lifeworgy asks, expanding elsewhere would be really difficult. First, we haven't discovered planets with oxygen on the surface. Second, we can't last more than 10 seconds in space. Third, don't you think we really need to travel space? I mean, we could reduce the exploitation of Earth, could be living thousands more years personally. I think if humans just exploited Earth and... Sorry, the sentence structure is maybe not the best. I know it's not their primary language, so I probably should have cleaned up the grammar first. We could potentially use Earth for thousands more years instead of moving on and just exploiting other planets, I think was the gist of it. So rather than just saying, okay, we're done with Earth, next planet, let's see what resources we can extract. We're like, no, well, with the right care and maintenance, we could look after planet Earth, is the general gist of the arguments, I believe. Because I've heard that before, but honestly, I understand where you're coming from. I understand that argument, the idea that, oh, we still have resources here, we should use the Earth's natural resources, and we should look after our planet if we use sustainable energy sources and things, and recycled materials, instead of just throwing things in a big pile and saying, here, there we go, that's rubbish now. Useful, valuable materials often ends up just on a scrap heap, and it's like, no, we could be reusing all of these things. Yeah, we could, but ultimately, we've still got issues of population to deal with. We've got to have somewhere to put all the people that keep coming into this world. People keep having kids, and those kids need somewhere to live, and those kids are going to need food and stuff, and ultimately, regardless of whether we reuse resources or not and get sustainable energy, chances are we're still going to run out of stuff. And we need more stuff. And the best way to get more stuff is to find new planets. Ultimately, out there in the universe, if we develop the technology to expand interplanetary, interstellar, we could find a lot more resources to keep people sustained. I know the idea is that, if we keep expanding it indefinitely, we would have to run out of space somewhere, but yeah, space is big. Space is really big. I mean, you just won't believe quite how mind-bogglingly vastly big it is. I've used that line before, I know I have, but yeah. It's true. You look at any kind of sci-fi, Isaac Asimov's great for the whole doing the galaxy-spanning type civilization stuff. And it's like, even if mankind expands to cover thousands and thousands and thousands of star systems, there's still plenty more out there. There's ridiculous numbers. We take many, many millions, if not billions of years before we could ever even hope to scratch the surface of the amount of space there is in the universe for mankind to expand into if we wanted to do so. If we had the technology to do so, if we were so developed. Whereas, yeah, I'm all in favour of sustaining Earth in the short term. I think if we're looking at long-term future of mankind, terraforming, expanding, interplanetary stuff is, I still feel it's pretty damn critical to things. Oh my word, 3 healers in one place. That's a horrifying mess. And one of them's probably going to pick the other one up now. I've got a wall of enemies in front of me, so I can't actually get to the bloody things. It's going to be interesting. Can I take care of you? No, apparently I can't. Okay. Yes, there are 2 healers again over here. God damn it. And I'm down! Hooray! I didn't get a chance to get my shields up. Damn it. Healers are horrible. It's in groups. 3 in one place is just nasty. It's the worst. It really is. I don't even know how I deal with this. I really don't. I suppose I could deal with the constructs first, because they're not going to be revived. I would thin the numbers out a little bit. They can be healed, though, which is not great. Ouch. Damn it. Probably I want to die again, because otherwise I would be using sparks. And that would not be a fun time. No. No siree. Sparks are for shadow layers, damn it. That's what they're for. And, torture drones. Shadow layers and torture drones. Don't you dare revive anyone. Boom! 2 for 1. 2 for 1. Good. Good. Very good. So no, I do think priority should be... I do think mankind's priority should be expanding to other planets. It may kind of seem short-sighted, narrow-minded. It's like, oh, just give up on Earth, get a better planet, just get another one, get a new one. It's almost a disposable culture kind of thing. It's kind of the idea of, oh, well, if we run out of this planet, we'll just get a new one. Yeah, but I think that's the attitude we need to take to progress as a species, to be quite honest. I haven't unlocked, like, a treasure room, have I? There's still a treasure room somewhere? Is there a treasure room somewhere? Actually, if there's a treasure room, where would I get the key to open the door? Because that was literally the door on the way out. There's not normally a lock on the door on the way out on a deconstruction zone. That's a new one. You don't often see that. I think you get them in, like, missions. I don't think I've ever particularly seen one just randomly in the clockworks. Normally, deconstruction zones just have the door open. You can just leave at any time. That's kind of strange. Okay, sure. I'll go with that. What a strange level. Huh. Okay, relevant to this, not really a question per se, but Julopapen Banana Plantage says, I think before we colonize Mars, we should probably first colonize the Moon, because I kind of talked a little bit about getting internet on the Mars. On the Mars, right, yeah. That's what we're calling it now. We're calling it the Mars. Internet on the Mars. And that's in relation to terraforming and stuff. Possibly, I think Mars probably has more potential. I mean, obviously the Moon is within easier reach of us. We can get to the Moon, whereas getting to Mars is a little more tricky. But Mars has a lot more real estate, and it can hold an atmosphere, and it may well have water on it, which is probably a lot more than can be said for the Moon. If you're going to colonize the Moon, you gotta look at bringing all the infrastructure and resources and air and water and things that humans, kind of need for life with you. I recognise that Mars isn't exactly hospitable at this point in time, but nonetheless, more so than the moon. The moon, like I say, mostly you're gonna have to build like. Most people would sort of illustrate it in science fiction works with just like a bubble. You get like bubble cities that have all the houses sort of built under a big glass dome. It's probably not glass, it's probably something more solid than glass, but yeah, you get a big glass dome and you put all the houses and air and water and plants and resources and things you need in there. And that's quite a lot of infrastructure, whereas Mars, you know, it can hold an atmosphere, so, you know, if you can get to some sort of stage where you can change that atmosphere into something breathable by humans, well, then we don't need the bubble cities things. There may already be water on Mars. That's kind of what a lot of these missions keep searching for. I forget if they've actually found that. You keep getting these discoveries like, oh, they might have found something interesting on Mars, and I don't know, it never seems like there's anything significant, so I would have to double check to find out whether they've actually found liquid water, or even ice water, just any kind of water, you know, H2O, in any state on Mars. I'm not sure whether they have or not. I would be very hard pressed to tell you whether they had or not, because I didn't do my research, because I am terrible like that. Yeah. So I think, yeah, with the fact that resources are already there, and if you look at works like Kim Stanley Robinson's Mars trilogy, I tried reading that back at A level when I was kind of researching a sort of paper on terraforming and stuff for some reason, and being, you know, like 18, I probably didn't do anywhere near as much research as I was supposed to, and part of that research was supposed to be reading Kim Stanley Robinson's Mars trilogy, which is 3 books predominantly about the terraforming of Mars. The problem is, it's really kind of dry going, its content, it's not, it is for whatever reason, it's a work of science fiction is what it is, but at the same time, it's not the most compelling yarn you've ever read in your life. So approaching it, reading it, expecting an interesting story, I don't know, I didn't find that there. And I kind of burned out on it really quickly. I was like, I'm having real trouble getting through this because it's really pretty boring. So yeah, I never actually ended up reading much of that. But I believe if you're interested in the subject of terraforming Mars, Kim Stanley Robinson did have a lot of ideas on that. And it's kind of, the 3 books chart the stages of going from Mars being inhospitable through to being a lush and verdant world, much like our own Earth. It's you got red Mars, blue Mars, and green Mars, I think. I might have got the order wrong on those last 2 books. I'm not sure which order those 2 go in. But yeah, red Mars is before it's terraformed. Blue, I think, is when they get like water on there, and then green once, you know, it's hospitable and there are plant life and things. And it just involves the processes involved in converting the atmosphere to a breathable one, and how one would, you know, literally terraform a planet. Because it's not... It would be difficult, but it's not 100% impractical to do something like that to Mars, which is why I feel like Mars is a better target for that kind of thing. Like I say, it would take a long time, and it would take a lot of resources and effort, and it would take a considerable amount of work on mankind's part to actually make that happen. But, holy crap, we finished this level already. I might have to throw another one in for good measure. But nonetheless, yeah, it's interesting if you want to check that out. So, I'm in favour of Mars. Either way, both are good options, I think. I don't think we'll need to say, oh, I think it's more for people like NASA to decide, or make a educated choice about whether Mars or Moon is a higher priority. It'll be one or the other, it will probably be the first one we do, but nonetheless... I leave it to the scientists to figure out which one is the more practical option. Like I say, Mars, you've got the problem of getting everything to Mars that you need. If you've got any equipment that needs to, like, convert the entire atmosphere on an entire planet, well, then, yeah, that's probably quite a lot of equipment that we've got to get a very, very long way. Whereas the Moon, it's a much shorter distance. But, hey-ho, I'm not the one that's going to be solving those particular technical problems, so I won't worry about it too much. No. Let's talk to Basil for a moment. Hello, Basil. What have you got for me today? We have got a... nothing I'm interested in particularly? No, there's nothing of any kind of interest there, I don't think. Is there anything that would sell? There's a fusion blaster there. It's a piercing shot thing. I don't know if anyone... Do we all want that? I guess somebody might want that. I don't know. The 4-star stuff always seems to be a bit hit and miss. The profit margins on them are minimal, so you kind of end up in a position where often it's like you can take a few attempts to sell something, and by that point you're losing money on it, so... I don't know. Feels like a risky investment there if I were to go for that. Alivi says, do you think anything like the Borg could ever be possible? I have never really watched much Star Trek. That is Star Trek, right? I think that's Star Trek. I need to Google that one. Borg. It's Star Trek, right? Let me just double check that one. It is Star Trek. Thank God for that. For a terrible moment there, I was like, oh, it's from Star Trek, and someone was going to go, what the hell are you talking about? It's from Battlestar Galactica or something. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it's like televised works of science fiction I'm really bad on, whereas sort of written works I'm probably a bit more invested in. Unless we're talking about Red Dwarf, I'll watch Red Dwarf quite gladly. Or the Hitchhiker's TV series, that was also good. I'm just really hit and miss about what I watch. Yeah, Star Trek is not one of the things I ever did get into. What am I looking for? This is Gremlins, right? So probably want something like that. Probably want a handgun that looks a little bit like that. And because I'm still heating it up, I probably want some armor that looks a little bit like that. Okay, cool. There we go, let's close those. Continuing on with the space questions, for they are all space questions, and I also need to bring my notepad back up because I opened Google, didn't I? The Lonely Knight asks a couple of spacey questions, which we like. I mean, I know I say just generally science, but it just seemed to lean more towards astrophysics and things, which I'm totally okay with, because that's kind of my jam. There are a few things. Oh god, I should probably be watching where the overtimers are throwing their daggers before I start reading from another monitor. It's not a good way to stay alive. Let's just clear these guys up, then we'll read a question. Bear with me, bear with me. And you. Bam. There'll probably be a pit boss that's just transformed as well, but there are a few theories of how the universe will end. Some think it's a loop, ending and starting again and again through the big crunch or big freeze. Which do you think is more feasible? I think most of it's just speculation. These kind of theories are, as you say, merely theories, and it's changed a lot of times over the years, depending on evidence. There's, like, for a while, it's mainly the big crunch idea is kind of the idea that if there is enough mass total in the universe, eventually the forces of gravity will cause the expansion of the universe to reverse, and nuts, what am I doing? It will cause the expansion of the universe to reverse and eventually collapse back in on itself. As we know, the universe is expanding, everything is moving away from everything else in the universe, and at some point that can't be sustainable, well, forever, so at some point either there is enough stuff in the universe that stuff has enough gravity to collapse back in on itself, or there is not, and one of these things is true. So if there is not enough stuff, things would just keep expanding forever. If there is enough stuff, it will collapse back into each other and it will crunch. The big freeze, I'm not sure I've heard the expression the big freeze. I presume the big freeze is, i.e., everything expands so far away from each other that even, like, heat energy is so far dispersed that everything just pretty much is just a perpetually frozen wasteland of nothingness and emptiness and terribleness. Although that we are talking many, many billions of years in the future here. This is so far beyond anything within our scope of comprehension. It's nothing to be particularly concerned over. Oh my god! How many overtimers? Go away, jeez. Don't gang up on me like that. I don't know where to lead them. Certainly don't want to kill... I don't want to kill any pit bosses around the yes men. Damn you. There's a couple of them. Damn spikes! I could get myself killed here, I really could. So yeah, that's the two prevailing things are the big crunch or the big freeze, and it entirely depends how much stuff there is in the universe, and we're still kind of working on that one. People keep finding new evidence and things and trying to figure that one out. God damn it, I need to get out of this. I need a pill. I need a couple of pills, to be fair. There we go, let's take them. There is a third one which states that if there is exactly the right amount of matter in the universe, exactly, to the exact atom, the right amount of matter in the universe, then nothing will happen. It'll reach a sort of state of equilibrium, and then the universe would expand forever, and would not expand forever, it'll sort of expand for a while until it just kind of stops. And it sort of stays there, and then the universe would not end, it would just sort of stay in a resting state. I suppose that then leads towards sort of heat death of the universe kind of theory, which is to say, which basically your I can't think what the expression for it is. It's entropy. That's it. It's entropy. Everything tends towards a state of more complexity, which ultimately is towards a state of, in most cases, just heat energy. Everything in the world in the universe, not the world, everything in the universe will eventually end up in a state of just heat energy. And again, we're talking at that point. I think we're probably talking like trillions of years, probably at that point. And yeah, everything, there won't be much left at that point. There will be no physical matter left, everything will just be heat. And that is the heat death of the universe. And it's also the subject of Isaac Asimov's famous story, The Last Question, which is a short story and widely available on the internet, and you should read it, because it is a very good one. You should read that. Which deals with that. So, yeah, without knowing the current particular research into the field, I wouldn't be able to give you any solid answer on which is more feasible. For a while there was the idea, like I said, there was the idea that we could have exactly the right amount of energy, but the idea that of all the things in the universe, we would have to the atom exactly the right amount just seems so extraordinarily impractical, whatever, unreasonable, unusual, that it didn't seem like that should be a thing. That's, if that were the case, that would be a surprisingly good, compelling argument for God, actually. The fact that the entire universe came into existence with exactly the right amount of matter in it. And indeed energy and whatever, stuff. The right amount of stuff in the universe for it to be in perfect equilibrium is just strange. Because every time we think we know something about the universe that's like, oh, it's perfect, it's like, it never is. I mean, for the longest time we're like, oh, the Earth is the center of the universe. We are the center of the universe. We are perfect. We are the chosen ones. We're in the middle. No, we're not. The idea that our universe could be so perfect as to perfectly balance like that as well. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, no, we're not special in any way, shape, or form. Every time we've thought we've been special, we never have been. That's not a thing. So the fact that we would be this time, it kind of is like, well, that doesn't seem right. So yeah, there's that as well. There are a number of options. I don't know what the prevailing theories are. You would have to ask somebody who actually does the research in the field, I think. Because again, sort of depending on research into dark matter and dark energy and things, those kind of ideas tend to change, I think. And which is how science works. And this is good, and this is why we love it. Also, from The Lonely Night, stars collapse on themselves. Do you think that any will be near enough to damage or destroy our solar system in the period of 1 million years? In a period of 1 million years? No, not a chance. Not remotely. I'm actually not sure if... I'd be very hard-pressed to actually figure that one out. I mean, I guess you'd need to know... You need to look into sort of the masses of all the stars within the vicinity. I need to know kind of what kind of radius a supernova would actually damage out to. I don't know what the radius is on a supernova, and whether there are any stars that are big enough to go supernova in the nearby vicinity to our star. A lot of stars, a lot of your smaller stars like your sun, wouldn't go supernova. They would just go nova, which isn't remotely as dramatic. A supernova requires a massive, massive star to properly explode and do a ridiculous shockwave of damage throughout the galaxy. To be fair, again, it goes back to the whole space is big kind of thing. Chances are most stars exploding probably won't do much damage to anything at all. It would have to be pretty close to do much. Like I say, if there was a supernova within a couple of light years of here, that would probably be pretty damn significant. But I don't think I'm not aware of any stars that are big enough to do that anywhere in the nearby galactic neighborhood. Like I say, the biggest risk you've got is the sun dying out and going nova, and that's not due to happen for another about not sure if it's 5 or 10 billion years, so you got a while on that one. You got a little while to wait before anything happens there. So, yes, I want purple, that's right. So, yeah, it's probably not a big concern on that one. And now, because I've done one extra floor, we've run along on this, but there we go, I'm going to call that there. That's all the questions. I'm actually caught up fairly well. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Meroka. This has been Spiel. And I'll remember to charge my sword up, and I'll see you next time.